People love to say, this is the worst year ever when something small goes wrong, like a bad movie coming out. But guess what? Scientists and history experts think the real worst year ever was 536. Sure, there have been other bad years, but 536 was so awful that it messed things up for years and years after. Let's talk about why the year 536 was the worst year ever. But first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for the Shaping History channel. Oh, and tell us in the comments what cool history topic you want us to explain next. All right, here's the deal. The year 536 was the worst year in history. Back then, a guy named Procopius, who worked as an advisor for a really famous general named Belisarius in the Byzantine Empire, noticed something strange. While they were traveling together in Sicily, the air started acting weird. Something bad was definitely going on. He said the sun gave light, but it wasn't bright. It was more like moonlight all year long. It looked a lot like an eclipse. The sunlight wasn't clear and didn't shine the way it normally does. Everything outside stayed dark, like nighttime all the time. A man named Michael the Syrian, who wrote things down a long time ago, said the sun went dark for 18 months. Each day, it only gave a little bit of light for about 4 hours, and even that light was really dim and weak. People said the sun might never shine bright again. Fruits stayed green, and wine tasted super sour, like bad grapes. This cloudy, dim sun made the whole world feel gloomy, with dark skies hanging around for at least a year back in 536. Scientists found out that a giant volcano blew up, spreading ash all over the world and causing big problems. This made the weather cold and gloomy, kind of like Seattle but without the rain. The ash even made the grapes taste bad, which ruined the wine. So, yeah, 536 wasn't a great year. Plants need sunlight to grow and stay alive, right? Well, without sunlight for a whole year, crops couldn't grow properly. This caused food shortages all over the world, and people didn't have enough to eat. It wasn't just the plants missing sunlight, it was everyone feeling the effects. The weather was way too cold for plants to grow. The sun was hidden behind thick clouds, and the earth got colder by about 3 to 4 degrees Fahrenheit. That might not sound like a lot, but it made things chilly for years and years after that. Back then, people everywhere were running out of food, even in Ireland. They had something really terrible they called bread failure, which meant they didn't have enough to eat. But food wasn't the only problem. The sky was dusty, the sun was blocked, and things got even worse. There were also plagues ready to hit people who were already weak and sick from not getting enough sunlight. This problem hit everyone, from poor folks to the emperor in his big palace. It started with a sore on your hand that hurt a lot. Then, it got worse until you couldn't even walk anymore. The legs got really big and puffy, then the big bumps popped and gross stuff came out. If this same sickness spread today, there'd probably be a TV show called Dr. Bubo's Pus Buster. It might even win the prize for the worst time to be alive. When the plague hit Constantinople, things got really bad. The city started to smell awful because sick and dead bodies were being dumped into the sea. But guess what? Those bodies didn't stay there. They floated back. People back then didn't do much planning for burials. It was just, bring out your dead. Back during the Justinian plague, people didn't really know what to do. Emperor Justinian thought the best idea was to get rid of the dead bodies in the city. But guess what? That didn't go so well. The healthy people who moved the sick dead bodies ended up getting sick too. It just spread the disease even more. Things got pretty stinky and scary, but for Emperor Justinian, it wasn't all bad. Why? Because the plague ended up being named after him, the Plague of Justinian. That might have been okay for him, but not so great for the 50 million people who died because of it. Around the year 536, things started getting really weird with the weather in China. It started doing stuff like raining dust. Yes, actual dust. And not just a little bit of dust. It was so much that you could scoop it up with your hands. Rain is not supposed to be dust, and it definitely shouldn't come in scoopfuls. A strange story from a very old book says yellow dust once fell from the sky. People called it hui, which means dust, and said it was yellow. No one knows if it was from a volcano or just something weird happening with the weather. But that wasn't the end of China's crazy weather. A really old book called The Chronicles of the Southern Dynasties talks about a super weird summer. There was frost in the middle of summer and even snow in August. Just like someone from sunny California freezing in Chicago during winter, the crops couldn't handle the cold at all. A big disaster hit, and summer crops couldn't grow. The people in Sinchu and nearby places didn't have enough food, and a terrible famine lasted 2 whole years. So many people didn't survive, almost 70% to 80% of them. Scientists later found proof deep in the ice of Iceland and Greenland. It showed that a huge volcano erupted around the year 536. Then, more volcanoes erupted in Iceland in 540 and 547. These eruptions made everything worse. The sky filled with ash, blocking the sun, and people were left in a dark, cold world. It was like the sun disappeared, and life got really hard. A big volcano might have exploded in El Salvador around the year 535 or 536, according to some experts who found ash in the area. Others think a volcano in North America also added to the dark skies everyone saw. Along with 2 volcano eruptions in Iceland, all of this caused what people call the Little Ice Age a long, long time ago. This made it hard for farmers to grow food, so lots of people didn't have enough to eat. Many people got sick because they were so hungry, and there were already a lot of diseases spreading around. But guess what didn't have a bad time? Volcanoes. They were exploding all over the place. In the 6th century, the Roman Empire moved over to the city of Constantinople. Emperor Justinian wanted to bring back the old glory days of the empire, kind of like someone who keeps wearing their high school football jacket to feel cool again. And honestly, it was pretty cool. Justinian wanted to bring back the old Roman Empire, and some of his generals did a good job. The best one was Belisarius, who fought lots of battles against groups like the Goths and Vandals. But Justinian himself didn't do so well, because there were too many revolts and problems in the empire. Those pesky revolts kept messing everything up. On top of that, sickness and hunger after the big events of 536 made things even worse, and the empire never really got better. The Byzantine Empire had a really bad time in 541. A big sickness called the bubonic plague showed up and killed a lot of people, between 35% to 55% of the whole population. Historians think the sickness spread because rats carrying the plague hitched rides on military trains. The soldiers were trying to make the Roman Empire great again, but it totally went wrong. The plague didn't care who you were, it hurt everyone. 536 wasn't a good year for the Moche people either. The Moche lived in Peru and were really good at fishing and farming. They even built smart irrigation systems to grow lots of crops. Farming was super important for their way of life, but bad weather in the 6th century made things really hard for them. A long time ago, there was a really bad year when the weather went crazy. An extremely strong El Niño made the ocean water super warm, and that meant there weren't enough fish for people to eat. On top of that, there was a lot of flooding, which messed up their farms and ruined their ability to grow food. It was a disaster. So, what do you think? Would you jump in a time machine and try living in the past? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to check out more fun videos from Shaping History.